Sea Trek 2001 was an opportunity for us to get a glimpse into what our ancestors experienced when they left their homes in Norway and England and sailed to America on tall ships in the mid 1800s.
We went back to Oslo to get on the ship. And I will have you know that these ship people really don't like it when you call it a boat.
That's the truth.
It's a ship.
As we sailed away from the dock in Oslo, I thought about the Jacobson family, with their 3 children leaving this harbor in 1863. They would never return to their beloved Norway. Elizabeth, the oldest child, and my great-grandmother, was almost 13. The captain of our ship, Europa, was Captain Klaus, and boy, did he look the part. There are few images more spectacular than tall ships on the open seas.
So, the Europa was a Dutch ship. We went to Oslo to start our ship journey. And we went from Oslo to Hamburg, which took 3 days.
Remember, that was in the North Sea, and that's where it got really rough. And our roommates were like puking their guts out. They were so seasick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the water was slurping up onto the ship. Yeah, it was super rough.
And we were on a ship called the Europa, which was a smaller ship, so the smaller the ship, the more you feel the movement, right? And then we went from Hamburg to whole England, and that was another 3 days. And they let you do jobs. Did they have us like assigned jobs at certain times, or was it different every
No,
day?
we were on a watch, and then we had to do the different jobs.
We had to steer the ship. It was at the helm. And there's, they would give you a degree that you had to follow. And you could help with the sails. You could climb up in the rigging, which is all the ropes and the laddery stuff that goes up to the little horizontal beams that go across the vertical beams, which are called yard arms. You always had to strap on this little harness, which looking back on it is like practically pointless. Like if you fell, that sucker's not doing anything for you.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Terrible.
totally. It's like this like 2 little straps, and it hooks together in the front, and you hook on a carabiner on the front, and then you're free climbing all the time, except for when you have to kind of climb backwards over the crow's nest. There were certain times out in the ocean where there were like big swells, where it wasn't like stormy weather, but the swells were big enough that it was just like you're rocking like for a long time that way, and then a long time the other way, to the point where like if you were walking from one side of the ship to the other side of the ship, and you were on one of these swells, it was kind of like walking uphill. You know what I mean? Anyway, so if you were climbing the yard or the rigging at that time during
so you could be hanging like backwards.
Yeah. You just kind of like, so depending on where it was at and its swing, which it's a slow swing, but you just hold on for a minute.
Oh my goodness!
Until
it flops back the other way. Oh my word!
So anyway, you are free climbing for all of that. You can clip on when you go backwards. I mean, it's not backwards, but kind of.
But it's, yeah.
You gotta go, against whatever. You can clip on for that part, and then you gotta unclip again so you can get up there. So, anywho. And you can also clip on when you're on a yard arm. And get under like a little safety rope. Like you can put that behind your back.
Oh, that's good.
It's the same safety rope for everybody that's on there. So it just runs the length of the yard arm. You just get under. It's not like tight or anything. But okay, so what you would do on a yard arm is you would, when a sail is not set, it's called furled. The sail is furled.
When it's all tightened up.
Yeah, when it's all rolled up into a nice burrito on top of your yard arm, that's furled. And when it's unfurled, that's like, so you can set the sail.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that we would have to climb up there would be either to furl the sails or to unfurl the sails. So how about the living quarters?
Yeah.
On the Europa were berths. So you had like your sweet little apartment with this cute shower and bathroom. Would you put down that curtain?
Yeah,
Mom?
that's the shower curtain.
I know it is.
It just kind of went in a circle to just separate it from the toilet, although the floor was all the same floor.
All the same floor.
Yeah.
But if the ship wasn't tilted your way, you couldn't take a shower because your water would run across the hall to the neighbor. Yep, we had berths with curtains and stuff. I so prefer, like, when I look at this compared to what I experienced in a hammock, it makes me feel like claustrophobic and like I want to die.
I know, isn't that terrible? And there were 6 people, so your head or your feet were right by their head or their feet.
Yeah, like A.
Mm-hmm.
If your head was up by A, your feet are by C's.
Mm-hmm. Either feet or head.
Mm-hmm.
But you had your little curtains you could close and then talk about claustrophobic.
Yeah. And you move everywhere the ship moves.
Yep, and there's no window you can open for air.
Yeah.
There must have been a fan. Oh, I think there were little fans, weren't there?
Ceiling fans?
No, heck no. Like in your individual...
Oh, yeah, there's fans.
Bed.
A fan and pictures they decorated. How nice.
We just hung our socks up, but we had clean socks.
Yeah. Did they have a washer dryer on that ship? Or did
No,
people wash them in the sink?
Yeah, I think I just washed them out.
Okay. And there's obviously life vests in there. Very prepared. Portholes. Just showing how, when you're on a boat, you're in the water.
And you're sloshing around, because here's 1 minute and there's the next.
Mm-hmm. And I think we all... Did you wear a Dramamine patch?
Mm-hmm.
We all wore a Dramamine patch. But when I got on the Stotzer Lemfield, they said you can't climb the rigging if you have one of those on, because it, like, could mess with your equilibrium, and they wanted you to be totally... I don't know. All your equilibrium with
self-sufficient.
So they said you can't climb, so I ripped that sucker off and never looked back.
Good.
And was totally fine. Beautiful sunsets. Just so pretty.
They were just all really interested in the tall ships when they would come into port.
Yeah.
So people would line up because they could tour the ship after it parked. And they had just big celebrations in every port, and people took pictures and waved and
the news people were jazzed.
Oh yeah, they followed us right along.
Yeah. And it was like we arrived, like they were waiting for us.
Sally and Ashley mentioned earlier, it was 3 days from Hamburg over to Hull. And we went to Hull, England, up the Humber River. And after the festivities in Hull, we took a train down to London. In London, we stayed a couple of days, had a chance to see My Fair Lady, and then we took another train down to Portsmouth.
So we went to London and had gas of a time. I took the last best shower of my whole life. And then we took a train down to Portsmouth. And did you guys fly out of Portsmouth?
No, we went back to London.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. Flew out of Heathrow.
Oh.
That's why we had to leave you there.
Because you had to go catch a flight.
Yes. We took her there, dropped her off, and she had to wander around without any adult supervision.
Yeah, I remember Dad. So, Dad bought me the first ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
At this fair. Like I said, it was a fair at every port. So it was, a day's worth of entertainment was all set up. I just had to have it without knowing a soul.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dad bought me some of that ice cream, and then he gave me some pounds, and then we went over to the ship and found out I couldn't get on for another 8 hours. Morning. But we had to say goodbye, and that was overwhelming. We cried.
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
And it was like ripping off a Band-Aid. It was just like, okay, well, we gotta go.
See you in 6 weeks.
change.